Yo guys, what is going on? My name is Anthony Scheme and I am hyped to do this video for you guys today. As I posted on my personal and a few other places, I wanted to make a video about how I got my first booking and what I suggest to others for their first booking. This is a subject that comes up quite a lot with people who really want to get into the scene, or by even a few producers that are really killing it. I mean, they're doing insanely well with their production and with their releases and everything like that, but they can't manage to line up their first couple of bookings to get their local fan base started and to get their actual show presence started. So that's what I want to help you guys out. I also have a bunch of questions that some people asked me that people want me to go over. Stick around if you're interested to see my opinions on some other things that people asked me, which are some really good questions that I think a lot of people could learn off of. First off, I want to say I'm not the all-knowing God. You know, I'm still on my grind. I'm still working every day to try to make this dream come true. So anyway, let's get this started. I want to go over how I got my booking, my first booking. I started out pretty young, which is a bad decision and an issue for a lot of people because you're not 21. I started out before I was even 18, which brought a lot of issues. But what I want to suggest to people, and this is what I suggest to anybody, is you have to be out there meeting people. You have to be out there making appearances. You can't expect for a scene to support you when you don't support the scene. So my first suggestion is support the scene that you want to support you. You can't just be putting mixes out there. Even as a producer, say you have really substantial releases that are getting, you know, good plays and good marketing and PR and stuff like that. That is not enough for a show. A lot of the time promoters don't even look at your releases or stuff like that. They will look at your numbers, they'll listen to your music, of course, they want to know what kind of music you play, but for the most part they really don't care about how well your release is doing, because very rarely, unless you're getting millions and millions of plays and you have a huge fan base, your releases won't do too much for you as a grinding producer and DJ. First of all, have a solid mix put together. A lot of people don't have equipment to do a live mix. It's hard to do, so use a friend's controller. You know, I think what people are looking for most is your track selection, what kind of music you're going to play out, and I think just making sure you know the basics of mixing. So definitely have a solid mix to put together. Another thing that helps a lot is what I call a press kit. A press kit, as far as I know, is something that you send once you're already booked for, you know, press shots, for logos, for your release information. But the press kit that I'm talking about here, it's almost a portfolio for you as an artist. So have something like that together, make it really clean, make it really professional, show all of your releases, show any interviews you've done, you know, just show what you're made of. Once you have all these things together, now's the time to really grind. For me personally, the scene that I wanted to break into was the Sacramento scene and the San Francisco scene. So to do that, you gotta put in the hard work, you gotta do the shit work. And I think Ghastly a few years back tweeted, you know, I can't believe a year ago I was handing out flyers and now I'm here. So I kind of took the same approach. When I moved to Sacramento, I started working for Vital, which, for any of you that don't know, Vital is a large-scale production company based out of the Bay Area. And I just started promoting for them. I mean, I took any opportunity I could, whether I was working the box office, whether I was handing out flyers at every show. And what that did is it gave me an opportunity to, one, get guest lists to shows so I could meet people and shake hands, and two, it gave me the opportunity to work behind the scenes and shake those people's hands too. It just opened up certain doors that I don't think you would have as just a regular party goer. And this also helps if you're on a budget, you know what I'm saying? If you can't afford to buy tickets to all these shows, and trust me, I understand if you want to support, right? I'm not saying don't support your local shows. Absolutely do what you can. But if you're having trouble, you know, supporting yourself and you can't, take the extra money, start being a promoter. You know what I mean? You'll gain guest lists to certain shows around the area so that you can go and make appearances. Don't worry about partying. Just worry about going there and shaking people's hands, introducing yourself. I mean, you never know, even the smallest person could have a huge impact, even if they're not super substantial in the scene. So shake the hands, meet the promoters, introduce yourself, you know what I mean? You can't, and when I say shake their hands, I don't mean just go to them and say, hey, I'm a DJ, please book me, you know what I'm saying? Like, make a relationship with these people. A relationship and a friendship is always so much more important than just a handshake and a one-time made connection. I mean, you know, make friends. Don't just make connections, make friends. Ghastly made a video about this, and that's a big thing that he pointed on too, is that friendships are so much more important than connections. Plus, you don't want to just use people, you know what I'm saying? Help them out, you know, show what you can do for them and they'll support you back. You have to support the scene that you want to support you. Once you've met people, say you get an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Say you get an opportunity, a first time show, it's an opening slot for a shittier show, take it, play that slot. You're gonna have to pay your dues. fuck you, Fiasco. You're gonna have to pay your dues. You're gonna have to play the bad slots. You're gonna have to do that for quite some time. I mean, this is a big issue. This is where I see a lot of producers who are, you know, up there in the scene as far as production go and those releases go, is that they feel that they don't have to pay those dues. It's almost two separate things. I mean, your production and your releases is gonna be so much different than your presence at a show or in a local scene. You know what I'm saying? So even if your releases are doing so well, you still got to build yourself in the scene. You still got to build yourself as an artist in the scene. So take the opening slots, play them, do what you can, play for free. You know what I mean? Invest in yourself. I know a lot of people say they can't take the time to play for free, but like, this is what it takes, you know? Take any opportunity you can. I mean, there is no opportunity that is too small when you're starting out. I can't stress that enough. Take every opportunity you possibly can. Then from there, you just want to keep shaking people's hands. You can never get to the point where you think you don't have to meet people. You always have to meet people. You always have to keep shaking hands, and then play a good set. You know what I'm saying? I want to touch on that a little bit as well. A lot of the industry standard is CDJs, usually CDJ 2000 NXSs or just 2000s in general. Learn how to use those and learn how to use Rekordbox. If you don't have access to CDJs, I grew up in a small town, there's always a Guitar Center close by. I mean, even for me growing up in my small town, there's still a Guitar Center about 30 minutes away. Guitar Centers will have an XDJ set up, or they'll have CDJs set up. Use them. Nobody cares. I literally taught myself in a Guitar Center on CDJs. I spent an hour or two in there. Nobody cared. Everybody was just hanging out. Look up tutorials on how to use Rekordbox, how to analyze your tracks, and I'll do all that stuff. Everything can be learned yourself. I want to stress that a lot too. Everything can be learned by yourself. I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of this video. Everything can be learned by yourself, whether it's YouTube tutorials, whether it's marketing, whether it's how to DJ. I mean, for real, you don't need to go to schools. You don't need to pay somebody a bunch of money. Just learn it. If you have the opportunities to go to a great school, do it. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that don't feel like you can't do it unless you go to a big expensive school. But please, I would rather see anybody invest in their brand and invest in their marketing than spending $20,000 or $30,000 going to a, you know, production school. And that's just my personal opinion on the matter. Take it or leave it. As an opening DJ, that first show you play in your scene is going to be really, really important. Make sure that you play a set that shows, you know, your vibe. It's heavy, but you don't want to obviously play any of the headliners' tracks. You don't want to obviously play any, you know what I mean, or the main acts. I don't even want to say a headliner. Any of the main acts, you know, songs. You want to try to stay away from the labels they're associated with. You know, respect the main acts as an opener. You want to become a great support. And I'm not saying, my goal as a DJ is to make sure the crowd has a good night. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that the promoter is happy with the way I'm treating the crowd, and I think that's what you guys should do too. Also, if there's anything you'd like me to touch on more, shoot my page a message, leave it in the comments, and I will get to you and we can have a serious discussion. I just love helping people, and I want to see everybody succeed, because I think that's the cool thing about this industry, is that everybody can help each other and everybody can succeed and really make it. Okay, now I want to get to answering some questions that were asked on a few of the posts that I made. First question comes from CJ Parker. He asked some good tips on crowd control and interaction. That's something I've always struggled with. That's something I think you develop with experience. But I think the tips that I can lend is, first of all, just watch the crowd. Watch how they're reacting to certain songs. If you're saying that sometimes they're not reacting to a certain style, say I'm playing a heavier LA bass house sound and people aren't responding to that as well, I might try to throw some kind of weird trappier stuff on there, or maybe some deeper G house stuff. Or say for instance I'm playing a deeper set in a club and they're not really reacting to the deeper, you know, G house sound, I might throw on some more heavier bass, LA bass house. I mean, really just see how they're reacting and experiment. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with switching up your BPM or doing a spin back transition and throwing in a whole nother genre to see how they react to it. If they react well to something, keep playing that and keep kind of experimenting and trying to throw the genres that you like in there, as well as seeing how they react. I mean, it's really important to just watch the crowd. As far as interaction with the crowd, getting on the microphone and just, you know, talking to them. I mean, that's a big part of the show is that personal connection that somebody has with a DJ when they're attending a show, or an artist when they're attending a show. And I think that really gives you a personal connection to them to establish them as, you know, a fan that's going to come to future shows. So what I suggest there is hopping on the mic, you know what I mean? Asking what's up, asking how people are feeling, you know what I mean? Scream to the microphone, scream some stupid shit. I mean, people love a good time. They want a good show. That's why people go to shows. So don't worry about looking dumb or looking like a DJ DJs that stand on the table and DJs that scream shit into the mic. There's a reason why they're big DJs. People like it, people love the interaction, and people want to come for a good show. So that's my suggestion there. This is a question asked by Kevin Puya and a few other people. How do I get a clean mix? I'm gonna answer that in two versions. A clean mix on CDJs or a live set. Practice, know your tracks. Easy as that. Know your songs, make sure that they flow well together, and make sure that the crowd likes it. How to get a clean mix when it comes to mixing and mastering? I think the biggest suggestion, this is what I just scream at people when they ask me, is reference listen. First of all, know your equipment. Reference listen on your equipment. Whether you're using headphones, whether you're using monitors, whatever it is, reference listen. You can get a very clean mix out of a really low quality pair of speakers if you know them well and you've referenced. So what I mean by reference listening is listen to a professionally mastered track that has the same style of your song, and just listen. Just listen to how loud everything is, listen to what the sub bass is doing, listen to the side chaining, listen to what the perks and the claps are doing, listen to the levels, listen to the EQ, and just match it. That's the best way I can suggest, and that in time will develop your own certain style of mixing and mastering. I would trust my ears over any tutorials, anything like that. I've always trusted my ears, and that in the long run has made my mixes and masters pretty solid. My boy Alex Rose asked, how do I streamline your production process? And I think developing your own process is really important, and developing a steady process on whatever DAW you use is also really important. For me, I just sit down and start making a bass line. I always start with my bass lines. I just have a heavy sound, and then I kind of progress with that. Streamlining that process is hard. Sometimes I've had to get remixes out in a week or 2 weeks for deadlines or just trying to get them out as soon as possible. And sometimes I've been able to just sit back and work on a song for a really long time, whether that be a month or 2 months. The only thing I've noticed between those two is that one, you feel rushed, obviously, and two, you don't have the extra time to add those little nuances and adds. And those little nuances are what's going to take a really good track and turn it into like an excellent track, an amazing track. You know what I'm saying? It's those little things that you don't think would notice, but in the end they do. Just develop your own process and make sure that you stick to that process. Timo said that he's at a point where his production feels like it's getting to a more professional standard, but he's having trouble getting people to hear them. So firstly, he wants me to touch on getting tracks released with labels. Don't worry about labels at all. I think learning how to market your tracks properly, how to market them on SoundCloud and Spotify and Facebook and just marketing in general is more important than getting them on a label. I found throughout my years, it's much better to have a label approach you or to be on equal ground with a label than for you to submit a demo to a label. In that case, they're going to kind of treat you like they're doing you a favor when in reality, you're giving them a quality song to release. You're helping them out. You're the one doing them a favor and helping their label grow with your song that you worked really hard on. So I don't think you should ever worry about labels. I think that you should develop a strategy to marketing your music yourself. There's great PR companies that will do SoundCloud marketing for you. There's great PR companies that will do Spotify marketing for you. I think it's just scouring, making those connections, getting in a few solid repost chains, learning how reposting works on SoundCloud. It sucks, but that's the world we live in today. Learning how playlist placement on Spotify works, learning how to submit to YouTube channels to upload your videos and stuff like that. Tim also touched on the fact that he doesn't know who to talk to when it comes to booking a few gigs in his hometown. First of all, just ask around, ask who's putting the show on. I mean, meet anybody that you ever saw behind the stage or running anything at the front desk. Just ask around, meet people, shake hands, introduce yourself. A lot of the times the promoters are very involved with the promotion process outside, where they're handing out flyers and stuff like that. Like I said, become a promoter for the club. Work for them and then grow yourself on them as an artist that they could book to have them at the show. The next thing he said is that the music scene isn't great in his hometown and the club scene isn't great. That's how it was for me. I live in a small town, like I said. Travel outside of it, possibly think about moving out for a little bit to make those connections. Possibly think about, just taking the time to travel to other nearby cities where you can meet people and shake hands and work there, even if it takes driving an hour or two. I mean, that's the commitment that you gotta have if you really actually wanna make it in this scene. So anyway, that's about all the questions. Like I said, if you thought of anything, comment below, message me. If there's anything you want me to touch on more, talk to me. I'm always around and available to help anybody that needs it or answer any questions that you guys have. I'll probably do some more of these in the future, but for now, I think I covered everything that I wanted to. Just to let everybody know, right now I have a few tracks that are done, but they're kind of up in the air as far as what we're doing for releases. So if you don't hear a track being released over the next month, just know that we have 2 insane originals coming out soon. One is a collab with somebody I'm very hyped to announce. Actually, a couple people that I'm very hyped to announce. So keep on the lookout. Those are going to be dropping soon. They're insane tracks. And as always, guys, thank you for supporting. Thank you for everything. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if the audio is a little whack on this, by the way. I'm still trying to get all this recording stuff set up. I'd love to have a standalone mic, but just can't afford it right now. I'm gonna throw my donation link down in the comments. You know what I mean? If you want to donate, hook your boy up. He's fucking broke. Okay. Oh, also, with one of those releases, I'll be releasing my first artist sample pack. It's gonna have a ton of samples, a full FLP, and that will be released with a free download tune through Panthers Groove. Once again, everything's kind of up in the air with release dates right now. We're getting everything worked on and solidified, but they will be out soon. Expect everything in the next couple of months. So, love you guys. Peace out. I'll see you next time.